Hello and welcome to a short showcase on some of the videos that I've made up in Forge. Now these videos are not going to be, this isn't going to be released right now. It's just a short showcase on what I've actually been working on myself. I'm by no means a professional modder or anything like that, but I like to think that I'm not terrible. So without further ado, we'll just jump right into it. So obviously you've got the typical, I'm using game sheets, the map that game sheet released that just removes all the barriers and obviously adds in the stuff that free industries added themselves. But then I've also added on my mod menu, and this here is just a few of the things I've been working on myself here. So first of all, it's a motorbike. Another person's already released one just like it. I've done this one myself because I'd rather do things myself, but it's a mongoose that's been modified into a motorcycle, and obviously it is separate from the actual mongoose. It's its own vehicle. And other than that, next from that we also have a Mongoose, which is its own independent variant of the Mongoose. Obviously it still says Mongoose here, but these aren't separate vehicle tags, they're just separate variants. I've had to create new machine gun turret tags so that I wouldn't interfere with the normal machine gun turret, whatever it is. Mounted machine gun. So it's the same turret as that, but I've had to recreate it and modify it so that I wouldn't have, a machine gun turret with legs on the Mongoose or a machine gun turret without legs in the other time you spawn it. This fully works. Currently the turrets will rotate fully because it's not quite ready. I've not quite figured out how to stop them from fully rotating. If I was to make these turrets mountable like you could with a normal machine gun turret like that, then I could do it. I could lock it to just a straightforward firing position, up and down, left and right, none of that, just straightforward. But with the way this works, it's a specific flag that you need to enable that allows the parent to control the runs. For some reason that flag completely ignores the pitch range and yaw range, minimum and maximum, so I've got a couple bursts to work out on that, but that's fine. I've also got here, it's a Warthog, but instead of your standard vehicles, instead of the standard machine gun, it is the mounted machine gun turret. So the idea for this one is, in some of the infection game types, like custom games I've been playing recently, there's been a pretty significant issue when there's Warthogs on the map, specifically with a certain factored variant, where basically you can go up into a corner and you've got a full 360 degree range of motion, and then also the game types where you're driving away from the zombies and you can just set your gun turret in the back and get every single zombie from the back, which creates a pretty big problem, for the zombies, because in these game types the zombies die with a couple hits, and if you've got a full 360 degree range of motion, it can be quite hard unless you're literally being overwhelmed with zombies, which is where this came into play. So this here, it's only got 90 degrees, and yeah, I could limit that to 90 degrees that way and 90 degrees this way, but this also has the added advantage that you can actually rip the turret off, and once you rip the turret off, the back of it also disables, it also goes off. So then you've got a Warthog without a gun turret. So if the gunner was to rip the turret off, the Warthog then becomes defenseless and completely. So it creates a little. The idea is to create a little bit of a dynamic where you've still got a very powerful weapon, but it's limited a lot more compared to standard. And then if you do get into a sort of bind, the gunner can literally come off, like rip it off, and then try and defend themselves while the actual warthog goes away. Or if the warthog driver dies and the runner can just rip the gun off and, try and save himself. Where is it? And with this as well, because of the way it's been done, it's not like just putting, just in for just dropping a machine gun turret on it. The turret is a part of the vehicle, and as such, you can flip it upside down and the turret will stay there. It will only separate once the turret's either destroyed or the gunner removes it, and that's the only time that it can actually come off, as can be seen here. And then you've got a turretless warthog. Next up is it's the pickup truck that you see in campaign, and where is it? It's the same as the warthog, except it's just a little bit different. It surprisingly actually had markers set up for the turrets already. I think it's probably for campaign for when George goes in and mounts it, but it's a little bit further back. But it's the same idea. It actually looks a little bit nicer actually as well, and it's the same idea. But obviously, if a map was created, then this could be used as an alternative. You've also not got the 4-wheel steering of the warthog, just because of the way the vehicle is. Not that it really matters too much actually, but it's a bit more open, a bit more civilian, I suppose. And then after this, we've also got the pièce de résistance, Belgium, but with rocket pods. So this also suffers the same issue as the Gundus, where you can turn all the way around and the rocket pods will follow you, because these are Warthog rocket pods, but they've also been modified the same way as the rocket pods, the gun turrets on the Gundus. So I've had to duplicate the turret itself and then modify it so that the base in that's gone, and then I've also had to move into there, so it looks quite nice actually. It's not too bad. The only signs you really got that this would be from that is the little screen, but when you're flying about and you're not going to notice it. You've got your seat entry shrink, and as you can see it does go in, but the turrets are fairly functional, and to an extent they are very very strong because they are Warthog ones, but they're accurate, they do follow properly, they do fire properly. You've not really got as much of an issue because it's a lot harder to see that they can turn all the way around, because you've only got a limited range of motion with the Peloton before it catches up with your aim, so you don't really get a lot of chance to see that. I've also increased the speed of this Peloton to make it a little bit better. It's actually maybe just a little bit faster than the missiles themselves, which is quite funny because you can actually drive into the fucking things if you're accurate enough. But yeah, it's the same issue. You can see that the turrets are rotating, but it's not too big of an issue. It could certainly be significantly worse. I could have enabled the gun turret as well, but it has a sort. I've not figured out quite how to make the be able to switch your weapons. If it was like the Banshee, I could do that. I could do it like a Banshee, but it's not quite as nice as I'd like it to be. But yeah, this is a very strong vehicle with the gun turrets, with the pods. One thing I did change, but then I forgot to save it, was the gun turret itself on the front. I had changed the enter seat string so it actually has one. Oh wait, no, I think I did change it. Never mind. So there, hold it, and I've also changed the camera so that it's the dropship camera is the same as the Peloton. It's not perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better than sitting inside its own fucking view model, its own render model. But yeah, fully working, driver can get in, and then to top it off, now this has been a little bit buggy. I'm not quite sure why. it was fully working. You could get into the back basically, but for some reason it's burning out. Since I've redone all this, but basically the idea was that you could get into the back before it was burning out. Like I say, it's not letting me. But these seats in here were enterable, all of them. But it's not. It's being really buggy. It's like there's. It's like the physics model is also in there. It's blocked, but the blocked values have actually been zeroed out every single one of them. So I don't know why it's doing it, but when it was working, every one of those seats could be entered into quite reliably. It was actually quite nice. I mean, literally every single one was usable, but it's been a little bit buggy. But I'll figure these issues out and I'll sort them out. But yeah, once again, a motorcycle, an alternate machine gun warthog, which is its own variant, not just a new vehicle or a modified one, but once again, pickup truck, same thing, its own variant compared to the standard pickup truck that doesn't have the turret, Marundus, and a Belgian dropship with the rocket pods. But yeah, it's just been a very short showcase on the things I've been working on myself lately, since Halo Reach came out. I will eventually release this. I'm hoping that the network sync issues with tag injected assets onto maps can be sorted, because as it stands right now, if you try and play online with somebody with this, like the host will be fine, but the client won't see anything the host, any of the stuff the host spawns, and if the client tries to spawn it, it won't show up at all for the client, even though they have the exact same map file. I don't know why it does it, but I'm hoping it's just an issue with the way that assets are injected, and that Lord Zed and everyone else who's working on assembly can sort that. If that happens, I will redo all of this on a fresh map to make sure that everything is okay, and then I will release it. And I might even just release it anyway, just so people can have a wee shot on single player for themselves and see what I've done for themselves. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this, if you like these little creations I've made, it's little that they are, give the video a like, maybe even share it, subscribe. It's up to you, really. Anyway, goodbye.